Today there's a lot of controversy. Which is better, Marvel or DC? Who copied this or that character? You'll find out the winner at the end of this video. History. At first, we must dispel the myth that DC appeared much earlier than Marvel. Only 5 years earlier, in 1934, DC revealed itself to the world. Timely Comics appeared in 1939. The company introduced the world to such characters as Human Torch and Submariner. However, as late as the 1960s, Timely redefined itself as Marvel Comics, while finding new success with the Fantastic Four created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. That's why there's a myth that Marvel is 30 years behind DC. No doubt, the latter did things better in the beginning. Needless to say, their characters are still popular today. Batman and Superman, also during the 1960s period, DC already had Wonder Woman, but with Stan Lee's arrival, everything changed. Marvel got a breath of fresh air by creating Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, and many other characters known today. Thereafter, there were failures and successes for both studios. However, it wasn't always like that, only until the 90s. First, people realized that comics were 50 years old and episodes could be sold for a lot of money. After that, the 90s turned into a bad streak for both companies. 7 of Marvel's most successful writers left the company, starting their own business, Image Comics. To survive, Marvel made a rather conscientious decision to sell the screen rights of its own characters, but at very low prices. At this point, there were many rumors that DC would buy the studio if it weren't for Ronald Perelman, the owner of Marvel. He bought several manufacturers of toys and other related businesses, combining them into Marvel Entertainment. DC was doing better. The company created other similar comic book studios. For example, Vertigo. The company entered the new century with more confidence than its competitor. Today, the popularity rating of companies is constantly changing. We wanted to pick a winner in this round, but as you could see, each of them deserves a point. So each of the studios gets 1 point. We scored by the following comparison criteria: history, movies, villains, intellectual property. Movies. Let's start immediately with 2008, when DC and Marvel were at a similar level. DC released The Dark Knight, which made over $1 billion in box office receipts. Marvel released the first MCU movie, Iron Man. At the time, it had almost nothing. The money for the movie was borrowed, and the lead role was given to a former junkie. Despite this, fans were wowed by Robert Downey Jr.'s role as Tony Stark. It was a shock for the MCU's first superhero, which marked the path to the extraordinary Avengers franchise. What's important is that Marvel's heroes look like a real person, and you can say, oh, that's me. And in DC, most of them are titans. Skipping ahead, DC managed to make one of the highest quality movies. The Dark Knight is the #1 superhero movie as rated by Tomato Meter. It was also ranked as the 3rd best movie ever made by IMDb. It's behind only the first 2 movies, namely The Godfather and The Shawshank Redemption. After this DC success, the company tried to stay more rigid and keep up with the success of the Dark Knight trilogy. However, it lacked the same depth. Batman started breaking his 2 main rules, killing people with weapons. The movie Batman vs. Superman turned out to be a failure. Superman is a man from outer space. It's interesting to watch him because he's not like everyone else. How he adapts to human life and what challenges he faces. Here's probably the main fault of Batman vs. Superman movie. The studio wanted to equate both with humans. But that's not the case at all. Marvel does the opposite. After the unexpected success of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, we saw the entire Marvel franchise take a lighter and more comic turn, invoking a combination of humor and amazing action scenes. As a result, Marvel has become a leader in the movie industry. The numbers speak clearly. 2017 info from Box Office Mojo. The DC movies have made $8 billion in their history, and Marvel made $11 billion. That doesn't include the Avengers and all the other profitable movies. We can conclude DC is a pioneer in every initiative. However, it's not succeeded in evoking fan love for superheroes as Marvel did. No doubt, Marvel gets the point. Villains. The villains are just as important as the superheroes. To make the story engaging, you need a strong antagonist. I guess you immediately recall Green Goblin. The MCU spent years creating Thanos to be a superior villain, but then Willem Dafoe comes back to one movie and immediately throws Thanos off the throne. That's how we can describe the Green Goblin phenomenon. However, there's one man who surpasses Dafoe, and we talk about Joker. He was an upper-class criminal. The Clown Prince was dark, terribly chaotic, and unpredictable, but he also remained comical and somewhat magical. In fact, a great villain should be both entertaining and truly frightening. A man without powers with clown makeup is capable of more than a purple titan, who can destroy half the universe with the flick of a finger. Write your opinion in the comments. Do you agree with us? In this round, we give the score to DC. Intellectual property. There's a lot of controversy on the internet about copying characters, and to be honest, Marvel takes a losing position. Once we name these characters, you won't believe that none of them were stolen. Catwoman and Black Cat. Batman's girlfriend appeared in 1940. At that time, Marvel Cat appeared in 1979. However, their roles are identical. Darkseid appeared in 1970, his competitor Thanos in 1973. The author of the later character has publicly stated that he was inspired by the character from DC. In the 50s and 60s, DC sued various companies that completely copied its characters. This resulted when a little bit of the character and his story is changed. No court can prove the theft. That's why there's so many coincidences. Marvel has more faults, so it's DC that gets the score in this round. To summarize, DC beat Marvel by 1 point with a score of 3-2. But we want to add a bonus category that absolutely everyone will agree with. This is the Marvel brand. The proof is how much the company makes from selling toys. They've made about $70 billion in all that time, while DC didn't make more than $20 billion. Thanks to the new Spider-Man movie that brings in more money from toy sales. Do you know who is the best Spider-Man? The video is already on our channel. When people focus on the Marvel vs. DC confrontation, they can't see the positive aspects of the character. And why exactly do they like him? So in our confrontation, we get a draw. Each of these companies has made great contributions to the industry. Do you agree with us? Write your opinion in the comments.